Hey y'all, thanks for coming. We're going to talk about the GLP-1 and all the emergency essentials that go along with it. We have put part one on YouTube already, the video. So if you go to Team Serve YouTube, you can find it. And then part two will be on there shortly. But we need to read our medical disclaimer for the FDA first. And this will cover also part one and part two. These statements and comments have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This information is for educational purpose only. Engage in Micronutrient Company does not claim that our products diagnose, treat, cure, heal, or prevent any disease or injury. Engage products do, however, address our deficiencies and provide our bodies with the nutrition we are lacking. This then supports the body to maintain balance in the body. A balanced body can heal itself. Information you hear or see is not intended to be a substitute for treatment or a visit to your primary health care provider. So with that being said, let me go to my next introduce. Too bad I can't memorize everything by heart. So Jet is a biochemist, environmental scientist, and the lead researcher for Dr. EMF. Dr. Court he has pioneered work, has uncovered an innate sequence to healing which starts in the brain, specifically at night. He is a faculty member of the Sleep Boost Academy. He has many more accolades, but we're just going to leave it at that. So, welcome to the call, y'all, and we appreciate you being part of this evening. So I'm just going to give it to you, and y'all can begin.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. We're excited that you're on. And I think the most important thing for us, we've been around a long time. And it all started back when I worked at the time for the Department of Energy as a contractor. And a very brave friend came to me and said, I have a product that I think could help protect you at work. And he was very brave because I ran a very large multi-million-dollar project and that measured air, water, biota, a large environmental project. And when I started looking at the science, I was really impressed. But what I did is I drove to Salt Lake City to meet Dr. Kedar Prasad. And I brought two of the smartest people I knew with me. One was a farmer who did soil testing, and she's in her 70s, very smart. Anybody that grows food on here knows that they're super smart. And then also a nurse of 40 years. So we had a real diverse group of people going to see, could this research be true? Maybe like a lot of you on the phone. And we get there and there was one product and with 24 million in research. And it was very old school. You had to order off of a faxed piece of paper. We went there and it was true. And the stories we got to hear of the lives that were changed, especially veterans, so many. It was just life changing for me. We filled the truck up with that one product, and this was over 9 years ago. And we drove 12 hours back home, and we shared it with people in our community, veterans and people that were very depressed. And I just want you to know it was life changing. And from that, it got out into our small little community, and I brought it to my friend at the time, Dr. Russ Court. And I brought this to him because he was an upper cervical doctor, concussion and TBIs in the suburb of Portland, and he x-rayed his patients. So I brought this product to him, but I shared it with many people. I shared it like with myself and my community because we were all exposed. It's near Hanford, so there's a lot of mixed high-level radioactive waste that's stored there. It's a very dangerous place. And I got exposed to a lot of it because I was out a lot in the fields with that. But anyhow, I brought that to Dr. Court because I knew it could help him protect against ionizing radiation. And so that's really how got involved and then shared that, with Dr. Court.
Yeah. Where do you want me to go from there?
Well, and then I think the first time you shared a little bit about when you first looked at it, doctors in general, they get inundated with different products. And right.
Here's the deal. If you think you're going to get it into a doctor's office, think again. A lot of people, I mean, in my office, I had gatekeepers. They would keep people from coming in and bringing products and trying to get us to sell them. And Jet brought it to me and said, hey, you have to try this. And I'm like, yeah, okay. She's like, no, you got to put this in your body. It's amazing. And then she and this tribe took off and met Dr. Prasad. But when she brought it to me, it just looked like everything else. And I didn't understand really at that time the caliber of the product that was given to me. The caliber of the product that was given to me was proven for our military. This is an original package of the Micro Daily. It was actually called Military Micronutrient Formula. And this was the original packaging. And I didn't realize how great it was until I got a chance to talk with Dr. Prasad. And when she came back from her trip, Dr. Prasad and I spoke on the phone, and he started telling me about, I was particularly interested in the radiation aspect of it, that he was telling us about the radiation studies that they had done in proving the product, because he had already made the product. This product that we had, he already had it. He had to prove that it could protect our soldiers from radiation, biowarfare, and extreme stress under warlike situations. And, I have such great respect for him, because he took the formula that he already had and he gave 17 lectures at the Department of Defense. Then he got passed to Congress and he did another 17 lectures to Congress. And then he got to compete for money, and he wrote a 60-page grant and was given $12.5 million. And then he got another 11 million, and he
In private funding.
And then he teamed up with NASA and the Department of Defense and the Navy and the Marines, and they went on to test the product for the next 7 years. And in 2008, I think it was, I don't have the book in front of me, but 2008, 2009, this product came out, and very benign, no real writing on it except for military micronutrient formula, and it says what day you're supposed to take it and how many times a day. And that's what makes our product so unique, that our product is a twice a day dose. The reason it's a twice a day dose is because the dose in the morning carries you up into the afternoon, and the dose in the evening helps to carry you through the night so that we can get restorative sleep. And that's something that we'll be talking about here in just a few minutes. So, and the last thing to finish this up, when I first got the product, my mom got very sick, and I lost my mom, and I had a very, very stressful week when I was gone, and I had just started taking the product. And even though you were only at that time supposed to take 2 capsules a day, I was taking 2 capsules.
2 capsules twice a day.
Twice a day, yeah. I was taking 2 capsules multiple times a day because the stress was ridiculous in this situation. And when I got back to work, my patients were like, how could you go through what you went through and still be doing so well, and you're right back to work? I'm like, gosh, I don't know. And then I realized it was because I was taking the Micro Daily formula. And at that point, I decided I'm not getting off this. I'm going to be on this forever, because I just went through the hardest thing in my life, and I'm just rocking it. So.
Well, and that takes us back to 8.5 years ago, and we had one product, and that's all we had. We didn't even have a subscription back then. You had,
No.
I mean, it's
crazy.
We'd fax in our orders, and this is the one product. And I want you to know it changed so many lives, the power of that one product. But Dr. Prasad was also the chair of the vitamins and cancer research at University of Colorado, Denver Medical School, where he was teaching physicians. So he's no stranger to vitamins and micronutrients and has published many books and peer-reviewed papers. We're going to fast forward here to the last few years. Dr. Prasad has been able to create a suite of products that have peer-reviewed papers behind them. He is 90 years young. 90 years young. And the latest product that he has just made, we're going to be talking about that particular product, which is our GLP-1 Boost. And it is patent pending, but we're actually going to walk you through the foundational and to put all those pieces together, because our goal on this call and the work we do at Dr. EMF is to educate and empower you to be able to deliver the very best results to the people that say yes, right? To unlock our body's innate ability to heal. And it's not just one thing. It's going to be a suite of products based off of peer-reviewed works and patents that are safe.
Right.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So we'll share the screen. What's this one? Whoops.
Is that the right screen?
I think so.
Beth, can you see our screen?
Yes, it looks
Okay.
good.
Can you hear us okay, Beth, or do we need to speak louder?
You're good. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Thank
great.
you. All right. So our opener here, we have this GLP-1 Boost. It's patent pending and super exciting. And we're going to be actually discussing the ingredients in that and really how to get the best results.
It's also a proprietary blend. So we don't actually, because it's all herbal, we don't have to list the percentage of the ingredients or how many milligrams of the ingredients. So we have a kind of a double edge protection here. We have patent pending and proprietary blend, which is pretty cool.
All right. And we just talked about our formulator and good friend, Dr. Kedar Prasad. On a personal note, during this time, I was diagnosed with breast cancer at 50. And I was the healthiest of all my friends. But I lived in an area where there's a lot of both Department of Defense and Department of Energy facilities within an hour, 40 minutes of where I lived. And I worked at both of them, which means I was exposed to biowarfare, VXGB incineration. I also worked at a place that had high level mixed radioactive waste. And so I got exposed to a lot of toxins, and a lot of people in my community did. And so there's a lot of cancers, which we don't talk about. I mean, because we actually have a clinic on site at Hanford, and that's where everybody goes for their checkups.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyhow, Dr. Prasad was my my sage, my guide. And he told me it wasn't my nutrition. It was the stress that I was under, the environmental stress. I also had a sick daughter that had a lot of, supersonic hearing. We now know misophonia, and probably she was diagnosed with, not diagnosed, but she probably had PANS or PANDAS because we were in Fiji and she got a very bad infection, and really just a lot of issues. So as a mother, I had a lot of exposures to a lot of stressors. I had a bilateral mastectomy at 50. And as Dr. Prasad said, he goes, you need to find a way to relax. So I found ways to help with mindfulness. And at 50 years old, I had a bilateral mastectomy. I was ready for reconstruction in 5 weeks. And I was completely cleared and ready to go back to any exercise that I had in 3 months. I was very healthy. And I didn't take any pain medication of any kind after I left the hospital. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But I'm here to let everybody know that how much I love Dr. Prasad, and he also has his own personal patent for the treatment of cancer, which he just published last year in 2024.
Yep. High dose micronutrients.
All right. This is why we're here. A lot of people, when they, whether it's 75% of the U.S. are overweight, but Dr. Court, we have a very high percentage in the U.S. and globally that are pre-diabetic and diabetic. And Dr. Prasad told me, I think it was about 18 months ago, Jet, you've got to master blood sugar and diabetes and insulin resistance, from the gut microbiome, from every aspect, and really understand that, because it is really at the crux of like a lot of our diseases. And so from that, Dr. Prasad had a patent with one product in 2007 for the treatment of diabetes. That first micronutrient product had a patent, okay, and a peer-reviewed paper. But this paper in front of you, if you haven't seen this paper, or you haven't, take a picture of the screenshot, look it up yourself. This paper was written late in 2023. It is a novel approach for the prevention and improved treatment of diabetes using a micronutrient mixture, which is our microdaily EMF, probiotics, omega-3, and collagen peptides. And this paper is really the foundation of leading into strategies that are safe, that are going to balance blood sugars, that are going to balance insulin resistance. And it's right here in this peer-reviewed paper. It's easy to read. So if you don't have it, I highly recommend you getting this paper.
Jet, it looks to me like this micronutrient mixture of probiotics, omega-3s, and collagen peptides, it ought to be called Emergency Essentials.
We think that the name should be changed. We think it's Emergency Essentials, because there's nothing more important than really getting to the root of balancing our blood sugars, really.
Yeah, everything we put in our mouth has an effect on us. So it's super, super important.
Okay, so dovetailing from this peer-reviewed paper, okay, for the prevention and improved treatment of diabetes mellitus, this core four, which we think should be the Emergency Essentials,
absolutely,
are the 4 products listed in that paper, which is incredible. And it is patent pending for the prevention and improved treatment of diabetes. So you have a peer-reviewed paper, you have a patent, and here are the 4 products that are patent pending for that. Isn't that crazy good?
It's awesome.
All right. So let's start with the very first product of the 4, okay? Because this is about balancing blood sugar, okay? This is about helping people that are insulin resistant, right? Which really drive one of the main things, the benefits that people are taking Wegovy or GLP-1 synthetic drugs, is because they need help with that. And it does help with that benefit, right? But let's talk about safety, okay? We'll do that in a second, but this is safe, okay? So Dr. Prasad's microdaily EMF is both in a hydro form, which we just had before we came on, capsule form, and also it's patented for children. And for you people that are on there that don't know that, our children's gummy micronutrient is patented, which means it's safe and it'll protect our children, okay, from 4G, 5G, and also help them balance their blood sugars, which is so important.
Well, for a lot of you who don't know, we started out with the military formula, and when Jeff and Helen got involved, this is what they sold. When we came on board, we had it in a box called the military micronutrient formula. It was still the same dosage, twice a day, and you had blister packs. And then in 2020, Dr. Prasad and I, one of my greatest honors was, it was 2020. We lectured at the Oregon Chiropractic Convention together, and afterwards at dinner, Jet gave Dr. Prasad a big envelope of our research on electromagnetic fields. And he came back after about 3 months and said, I've gone through everything. And very funny, he actually said this to me, but he said, Dr. Court, I am the world's first PhD radiation biologist, but until I met you, I didn't know a damn thing about EMF. And but with that research that we gave him, he decided to enhance the military formula. And so the EMF formula is an enhancement, and that enhancement over the military formula is that they put in the appropriate folic acid and B complex for people that have a gene expression called MTHFR. And then he added a tiny bit of decaffeinated green tea, because a lot of those people are kind of low volt. They're they have a hard time absorbing nutrients. And then he added resveratrol, curcumin, and quercetin. And that is the change that he made, the enhancement that he made to the original military formula.
But hang on, based off of a paper that he wrote for Parkinson's, where he actually in a table created all the microRNA and how each one of those nutrients that he said, the microRNA that are upregulated and downregulated. So it wasn't a random
No.
way he did that. I mean, so it's actually a peer-reviewed table on why he chose those ingredients and for the amount that he chose for those ingredients.
And again, we call this core four our emergency essentials. And I was just talking to a group yesterday, and I was referring to our core four specifically with the EMF as a prepper product because it was designed to protect our military in times of extreme stress and also when they didn't have food. And so this is built to sustain in the worst case scenarios. So with the hydro, we have it everywhere. We have it stocked everywhere. And if we're in the truck, we can pull out a hydro. It is always with us, and we always make sure that we have enough in case something happened, that we're never without it.
And with our work with the Sleep Balance Academy and the work we're doing at conferences where Dr. Court gets to lecture, we have so much hydro because we do get a lot of exposure at those conferences. And so, like people that fly, there are a lot of people that are getting a lot of exposure to not only ionizing radiation, but also now non-ionizing radiation. With that, this core product is foundational and was already proven to balance blood sugars. And it's the staple. It is it's the center of the spoke. Then we get into the hub of the spoke.
Hub of the wheel.
The probiotic daily, which is also patent pending. So yes, all four of these together in a suite are patent pending for the prevention and improved treatment of diabetes. But this individual product, the probiotic daily, is also patent pending. And I know I've been around this area for a long time. I don't know of very many patented microbiome type of products. And so what's so special about it is, well, first of all, Dr. Prasad discovered butyric acid.
Yeah, I know, that's so cool.
Right? That short chain fatty acid, which is really beneficial. But he created a masterfully crafted product that has the appropriate bifido strains, the lactobacillus strains, which has now been renamed, an S. boulardii, which is a yeast that acts as a probiotic, and we have spores. So we have these probiotics, but we also have the actual specific food for each one of those because they're unique, which creates a symbiotic. And we must have, like, the dysbiosis that I see because I measure at the highest level, and I'm now involved in a research project for sleep medicine, and I'm super excited about it. It's my contribution to the gut microbiome. But at a very minimum, if someone was getting on GLP-1, I would say at the very minimum, Dr. Court, they would have to have microdaily EMF to cover their bases and the probiotic with the GLP-1 at the bare minimum to be able to deliver the results that they really want.
Well, and another thing that makes
Hang on. Do you agree with that statement?
100%.
Okay. Before you move on, I was trying to get that out of you.
Well, and if I didn't, then I'd get slapped. So no, I agree 100%. So the other thing with the probiotic is that it's acid and heat resistant. So it goes into the gut.
Well, some of them are.
And gets through into the intestines. And then he's brought the prebiotic, which is kind of like the lunchbox, to go with the foods, with the probiotic. So do you know how long it stays in the intestine? We've never talked about that.
No,
but
well, they're different on that. But what we know is that when you take an antibiotic in the work I'm doing, just one round of antibiotic can wipe out the diversity of your gut microbiome for over 2 years. And I know that because I look at that data, and so it's one of the most powerful things. So it's a good question for you to ask people if they want to be a part of, what you're doing. Have they been on an antibiotic? because we really have to rebuild that gut microbiome, because that's where the B6 is made. That's where the B12 is made. That's where the GABA and the tryptophan and so many of the building blocks are actually made in our gut microbiome or not. And if they've had antibiotics, it could hinder them from getting good results.
Right.
Okay. But if they have, it's okay. You have a solution to be able to help them build that back.
And scoot towards me a
Yeah.
little bit. Even the worst antibiotics that are out there have an effect on
What do you mean worst?
Okay, so like the most powerful antibiotics, I was just on a really powerful antibiotic, and it causes a dysbiosis in the gut for up to 2 years, like you were saying.
Oh no, not just dysbiosis. It wipes out the diversity. Okay, which means you don't have specific good bacteria making the building blocks for your body to heal, because we really work together.
Right.
Okay. So it's a good question to be able to ask those people that are wanting to get on and health through stealth, right? Be able to help them lose the weight, but really we want them to balance their blood sugar.
Absolutely.
So with that, we're going to move on to omega-3.
Well, that's the basic bundle, which I think is the bare minimum. Scoot towards me. And the then the next product is the omega-3 daily. And I was just talking with Lieutenant Colonel Buzz Urker on the phone, and he's also on the call. He was telling me about his eyesight. And this is a fighter pilot, extraordinary fighter pilot. I think he's got 25 years in the military and Air Force and Marines, flying F-16s, F-18s, F-35s, and then he was a test pilot. Now he flies for a big carrier. And he was really concerned about his eyes. And I was telling him about the omega-3s and how when I started taking it, my cataract in my left eye cleared. And now I've gone from a 2.5 prescription to nothing. Sometimes I'll wear like a 1.
Hang on, at 59, everybody. You
Thanks.
can, right?
Yeah, at 59, my eyes are getting better.
They're getting better.
And that's unheard of. Well, it was until we talked to Lieutenant Colonel Urker, and he said, hey, I just went and had my eyes checked, and he was really concerned, and they were talking about having him wear glasses. Fighter pilots don't do that. So he was really concerned, and he just told me before we got on the call, he's back to 20/20. In his 50s, he's back to perfect vision. In fact, the eye doctor had him read the bottom line forward and backwards. And Buzz, I forgot to tell you, the bottom line says made in China, just so you know. All right,
Okay.
so our omega is amazing. It's a 2-to-1 DHA formula over EPA with GLA and ALA coming from barrage oil and flaxseed oil. And then it's stabilized with a vitamin E tocopherol.
Well, and it's patent pending. Is everybody getting this? Like, I just want you to know, as a biochemist, in fairness to the physicians and practitioners out there, they have never, ever seen products with peer-reviewed work and patents and patent pending for the prevention and treatment of diabetes, improved treatment of diabetes. And so we have to give people a little bit of grace to, could that be true? I'm here to tell you it's true. But the omega-3 is a really powerful, and Dr. Prasad has recommended omega-3s in his peer-reviewed works and his textbooks, which I have many, for over 20, for over 25 years. At a minimum, it was 1,000 milligrams of omega-3s, which helps really our endocannabinoid system, which is a different system that we have in our body, which is a lipid based. So the omega-3 is super important because he's recommended that when he was the director of vitamins and cancer research at the medical school in Denver. That was the critical component that they had to have with this micronutrient, but they had to buy somebody else's product. And so now he would have never sold a Me Too product.
No.
He made this the way he wanted to for stability too, the shelf life of over 4 years.
Well, 20 years ago, Dan Murphy, one of my colleagues, said that the omega-3 versus omega-6 ratio was like 10 or 12 to 1. And now we have this amazing product. You know what I'm going to close out the omega with?
What?
Holy mackerel. What a product.
It's a great, you know what? It's a great value. It's a super good product. We measure the omega-3 index Okay. And we can see over time, which is incredible, we can see those shift and the different types of good fats. So it's a great product. The last part of the suite is our patented collagen daily. And you were just on the phone talking about this, but quickly, can you tell us why our grass-fed patented collagen daily is different than anything on the market?
Well, again, I was talking to the colonel and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm taking a collagen. I'm throwing you under the bus here, Buzz."
Mm-mm.
But I said, "You know what? Check and see if it's got enzyme inhibitors." And that's what I tell everybody. They tell me they're on a collagen. I say, "Well, tell me what the enzyme inhibitors are." And they, "Well, what do you mean?" Well, our body after the age of 40 starts to break down, and it breaks down using enzymes. Am I right? The collagenase and the
Mm-hmm.
hyaluronidase. And Dr. Prasad just was like, "Hey, when do I inhibit this?" Because he's not a me too. He's just out on his own. And so he worked on it for several months. And finally, he found amla and white tea. Now, the amla was a tree that he had in his front yard back home in India. And white tea actually inhibit hyaluronidase and collagenase. As a result, this product was patented when it came out. And it's something that I don't ever want to be without. I mean, we have it at least twice a day, and that's how we stay so young
Well, the
looking.
collagen peptides, they're almost a complete protein except for tryptophan. And so it's a great delivery of really important amino acids, and it's easy to digest.
It is important, though, that we don't use this with the cancer patent that Dr. Prasad has because he doesn't want us using the collagen in the high dose micronutrients.
Well, and that's because glutamine is a fuel for cancer cells.
And you're going to
Okay.
hear more about that in a moment.
All right. So these four products are the suite that have a peer-reviewed paper and a patent pending for the improved treatment of diabetes, prevention and improved treatment of diabetes.
And make no mistake, this is an emergency essential.
All right. Sorry, this is a rough slide. When we did this today, I took it from a different slide. The second piece of why we're laying this in to get optimal results with our new GLP-1 product is that we heal at night. And the glucose regulation is actually during slow wave sleep. And I teach at the Sleep Balance Academy, really sleep biochemistry. And so it's very important that we get restorative sleep, and we measure that. But if we don't, and we're not getting restorative sleep, even if we took the GLP-1, even if we took these other, the suite of products, if we're not getting restorative sleep, that's the specific time at night where we heal. So it's just critical that we focus on being able to get to that slow wave sleep. And so that's the time of night we heal. And I love teaching that. And, I think from what we found when we were just at A4M, the big anti-aging conference, talking to DOs and MDs, people were very hungry to learn about how we heal at night. Everybody was.
Well, and that's why it's so important to take the second dose of the microdaily EMF is because it also helps with restoring our body and helping to heal our body when we sleep. Are you done with this one?
No, we haven't
Okay.
started this one. So these are the four, the key part here, it should say sleep issues. I just didn't get time to put that up. These are the four ways that could inhibit your ability to get sleep. Okay. And so we need to have strategies to be able to discuss this with people because this is about you getting educated so that you can be able to get the best results with the GLP-1, like laying that foundation, removing every obstacle. If they were on antibiotics before, right? If they're not sleeping, they're not going to get the results they deserve. Right. And it's our job to ask those questions. Number one, and this is really one of Dr. Court's main, the first two are really Dr. Court's main areas, which is really structural, like snoring. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, you have difficulty breathing this time of year. Right. And so structurally, if you're snoring, you need to get that fixed because that would hinder all of the good nutrients that you're putting in because your body is really in danger all night.
Yeah, I was just talking to a bodybuilder about snoring, and when I was looking at some of his data, I said, "You know what? you snore. And he's like, how do you know? Well, those are the things that we look at. And a lot of times, folks, if you have young kids or grandkids, watch them, go in and watch them sleep. And you can, if they have an issue with their airway, they may start snoring or sleeping loudly, even as an infant. And that was true with my son. He had a snoring issue right out of the chutes. So, what's next?
Hang on. And with that,
Oh, yeah.
so we were just published in this book, and Beth will have it available, a link on there for, or the image of this book. The actual, the director of the Sleep Balance Academy, where we teach sleep medicine, just wrote this beautiful book, but we have a chapter on EMF and the work we do at Dr. EMF, and thanking us for our novel approach to help people with sleep. And so with that, sleep hygiene, the second bullet, we have to reduce the EMF in the bedroom. And this is something that Dr. Court's super passionate about because he's really sensitive, and we measure the brain at night. So we know even the smallest amount of Bluetooth can affect a child's brain. And we know this. And so just sleep, create a sleep sanctuary. It needs to be a cool, clean, dark room so that our body, right, can really reset with our circadian alignment. It sounds like a buzzword, but I want you to know 90% of all genes are nutrient sensing based off of your circadian. That's why eating late, if you eat late, you are resetting your clock. And so then your body has to work really hard and expend energy while you're sleeping at night, but also you're feeding bad bugs. And we don't want to do that. So sleep hygiene and circadian alignment are ways that we're finding that really are inhibiting people, right, from getting restorative sleep.
Right. And one of the last things on that, Jet, is you hit all the points except for unplug everything in the bedroom.
Yeah.
You got to unplug stuff. And people tell me, well, the lamp is off, but the electricity goes all the way to the light bulb. And so if you have a lamp next to your head, bets are off. Unplug the thing,
Yeah.
unplug your alarm clocks, charge your phone as far away from your bedroom as you can. And if you need an alarm clock, get a little $5 one at the hardware store.
Yeah. And protect your eyes at night. It's not just blue light, it's also bright light, the lux, the strength of the light. So if you have to go to, let's say, Target or the grocery store, somewhere at night, it's very bright. It actually resets your circadian clock. And so, and we know this isn't myth. I mean, we measure vision. So we know that we can actually see people that their pupils are wide open because they don't have the ability to be able to govern that.
If you do that 9 o'clock run to Walmart, you're shot. It's just messes up your brain.
Even if you weren't eating, right? Even if you held off that snack, that still could do it.
Yep.
But now let's get into the two areas here that I think are really critical. Insomnia. So if you don't have the building blocks to get to sleep, like we have to have GABA made and glycine to be able to get to REM and to restorative and to be able to dream. And our gut microbiome actually make GABA. Okay. They actually make tryptophan, which are building blocks for serotonin to melatonin. And we can fix that. We have an amazing strategy we're going to show you on that. This is a huge problem. Do you know on here, separate from the first two, okay, right now, sleep deprivation is 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's higher than any disease. Okay. And sleep deprivation is linked to every disorder and disease out there. So this is really important. So when you're visiting with someone, you could be asking questions, right? Do they have insomnia? Right? I mean, just these key points, education and empowerment. And but the last one is pain. And we normally don't talk about this, but he dealt with a lot of people in pain in his TBI concussion type of work for 20 years. But most of the time they go to pain management doctors. People, the sleep medicine and the pain management, people don't talk. They're siloed. I'm here to tell you, if you are in long-term chronic pain, peripheral neuropathy, any type of chronic pain, you are not getting restorative sleep. We have to get to restorative sleep. The very first is called slow wave sleep. That is when glucose metabolism is rebooting and all of that work for the day is actually generating. It's a totally different job in our glucose metabolism at night. But if we're in pain, we have to have solutions for people. So I'm here to tell you that we have to have restorative sleep. and we can be able to offer those solutions for, I think, sleep hygiene, circadian alignment, insomnia, and pain. We have solutions. But if someone's snoring, we can totally. We now have over-the-counter things that they can be able to use that are that they can be able to try, and they work, guys. They do. And so we just want you to know that we're excited that we can be able to bring solutions, right, for you here. So let's go on.
And
to
our
the,
digital hygiene with this is one of the biggest reasons for insomnia.
it's true.
People are on their electronics. When you're on your electronics late at night, you're not going to get restorative sleep.
Okay.
Oh, look, Sleep Boost.
Oh, look. And so on the right-hand side, Sleep Boost. And I want to say this, that I have never recommended an over-the-counter supplement of any kind for sleep prior to this product. And we got to look at many. And I tried melatonin. I've tried many different things standalone. And a lot of times people wake up groggy. There's a lot of issues. Okay. Dr. Prasad made this product, is patent pending, and I think it's one of his greatest products. And by actually providing the building blocks of melatonin, which at a very small dose, okay, and L-tryptophan, which is the precursor for our own body to make serotonin to melatonin, and the two herbals that are in there actually help make GABA. I love this product. So if people are having a hard time getting to sleep, falling asleep, or even, which is called sleep latency, or if they're waking up at 2 or 3, they have to work on some sleep hygiene issue too, and not eating late. But if they take the Sleep Boost, it really will help, because we can actually see that, okay, get fixed. And I only take one. I take one Sleep Boost, and I sleep great. But if people are in pain, hear me clearly. If people are in pain, the CBD Boost, the CBD isolate, is a fantastic way to be able to help people get out of pain. And I'm going to give you a very important tip, that if we can get 3 nights of sleep without pain, our bodies will innately say, I'm safe.
Right.
And all the healing processes start. Okay. And so don't be shy. Like, I want people to be able to use this, but one CBD Boost, it will, at 25 milligrams, will actually it'll make you more awake. So don't just take one. And this isn't, it's not for marketing. It's true. But sometimes when I was having severe hip pain, I took 5 or 6, and I don't weigh but 135 pounds. Okay. It's safe. The dosage for people for CBD isolate for children that have seizures, it's the same CBD isolate. Okay. It's a massive number. Okay. It's not 5 or 6. It's 25, okay, for seizures. So it's very safe. But for pain, we have to have restorative sleep. And when we combine the building blocks of the tryptophan, right, and the melatonin and the 2 herbals to be able to help build the GABA with the CBD Boost, and we get people out of pain, I'm going to tell you, they're the keys to unlock the body's innate ability to heal.
It's true. And it's not the only thing it's good for. There's a thing that I call UMS. It stands for ugly mood swings. And boy, that can happen from time to time. So I recommend 4 to 5 CBD to calm down the UMS that happens. Well, in this day, a lot of things are putting stress on us, and we see a lot more UMS than we did before.
All right. So we've just laid the foundation and the research and peer-reviewed papers. In 90 days, all of your red blood cells are brand new. That's why we test, it's called a hemoglobin A1C, because the actual glucose is stuck on the red blood cell, and it's sticky. And the more glucose that's stuck on that red blood cell, the more stickier it is, the higher the A1C number. And in 90 days, in the last 8 years, we've seen so many hemoglobin A1Cs balance out. I mean, it's incredible. It's safe. It's safe. There are no contraindications. So here we now are dovetailing into our brand new GLP-1 Boost. We want people to get the results they deserve without the contraindications from the GLP-1 synthetics like Ozempic or Wegovy. The latest contraindications from those products are very serious. Gastroparesis, and some of them are not able to start, they can't digest food, and this is very serious, life-threatening. We've also seen a lot of muscle loss. Muscle loss. That's horrible.
If you lose your muscle, you lose your noggin.
You lose your noggin.
You lose brain function and dementia, Alzheimer's. Those things are accelerated when you lose muscle.
And then when people say bone loss, what that really means to me is in the bone, we have bone, the marrow, and in the marrow is really where our body's stem cells are made, our own endogenous stem cells. So that would hinder our own body's ability to heal as we age if you have bone loss. So these are very serious. Those are the side effects from the synthetics. But people are getting on them because they want to lose weight.
Right.
Right. Or we're seeing their blood sugars get balanced, but at what cost?
You know, what's really cool about this product is that they're all natural herbs. And that's why this has a proprietary blend. But these are the ingredients that Dr. Prasad has put in this formula. I'm gonna let him out in just a second.
Good.
You ready to go to the next one?
Yeah, go ahead. No, I'm going to have you go ahead and read through these and I'll let him out.
So ingredients that stimulate the GLP-1 and the GIP, glutamine. Now, where have you heard glutamine before? Oh, yeah. That's what cancer likes. So we want to make sure that we don't take this product if we're fighting a cancer diagnosis. But the GLP-1 and the glutamine, it's an amino acid that actually increases GLP in one part of the intestine, which Dr. Prasad told us that the half-life of the GLP, this is how long it's effective, halfway through, is 1.5 minutes. I thought that's crazy. I've never heard that before. And so the GIP actually helps to inhibit some of the effects of the GLP if it becomes not toxic, that's not the right word, but as the GLP is going through, the GIP assists it. It also stimulates the secretion of insulin from the pancreas. This is where it helps with the blood glucose issues. So that's in the pancreas to the blood. It helps to regulate the glucose levels and it reduces appetite. And you're going to see this as we go through these slides. This is a brilliantly established formula that continues to work throughout the day. Do you have anything you want to add to this?
No.
Go ahead.
This ingredient is called a kalonji seed extract, and this ingredient inhibits glucose absorption and it reduces appetite.
So there's 2 reduced appetites.
Curcumin increases the secretion of GLP-1 and GIP, reduces oxidative stress, it's anti-inflammatory, it reduces fat formation, enhances energy, and reduces appetite. Go ahead, Dr. Court.
So, she gives me this one, Ginsengosides, or Panax ginseng. This actually stimulates the secretion of GLP in the part of the intestine. It's the ascending, I think it's the ascending colon. Don't quote me on that. And it reduces insulin resistance and hyperglycemia. It also improves cognitive function in mice, increasing acetylcholine.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, and that's the primary important neurotransmitter that we need, that when people have dementia, they are lacking acetylcholine. And so it's really important that we still can increase that. And that really will affect the very next one, which is responsible for storing memory. So very much linked to dementia. So it would increase acetylcholine, which is a very positive step as a preventative for people that may be prone to have dementia. No
Because
matter,
as we said with the other products, when you lose muscle, you lose brain.
right.
And that's another reason why it's so important to have the collagen, because even our brain has collagen in it. Our body is made of 30% collagen. And it's one of the things that we see in the aging process is that the brain literally changed shape because it's shrinking. And
All organs. So let's think of collagen as a structural support. It's our structural support. And if our own body's enzymes, as we age, are breaking that down, all organs, including our brain, don't have that structural support.
This is one of the reasons we didn't talk about this last time, but it's one of the reasons why auto accidents are so bad for the elderly, because their brain moves more inside their skull, and it's the aging process and so forth that creates that.
Okay, and then it protects the neurons from both oxidative and inflammatory damage. It improves insulin sensitivity and decreases glucose formation in the liver, again, reducing appetite.
Gosh, I hope that I mean, hopefully we'll be able to eat with this thing.
I don't know.
I don't want to miss up on eating.
Okay.
I like eating.
Pomegranate, I love this ingredient, and that's because I love polyphenols, which are color and pigments. So pomegranates are rich in polyphenols, which are a ring structure, but they're color. They have different colors. Super excited about that, which stimulate the secretion of GLP-1. This increases secretion of insulin from the pancreas to the blood and is a very strong antioxidant that reduces inflammation. And I'm also going to add something on here. Polyphenols are now seen as a prebiotic, and they're not exactly sure the mechanism of action yet, but this pomegranate actually can go in and be a food for some of the good bacteria. So there's another mechanism of action there. And again, reducing your appetite.
I'm just going to throw this out. One of the biggest inflammatory agents that we consume on a daily basis in our diet is soda for the pancreas. It is really bad for the pancreas.
All right, go ahead, Dr. Court.
So this is a fruit extract called Gardenia jasminoides, and it increases the secretion again of GLP-1 in the intestine.
No, and protect.
And it protects the islet and beta cells from oxidative stress. And those are, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. And I think that's in the pancreas. But it also has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, which this is the key to all of our products.
Yeah.
Decreasing oxidative stress and inflammation. Simultaneously. And then it enhances insulin sensitivity and insulin flow. So the big issue with with blood sugar is also aided with this. And again, it reduces the appetite.
Because the red blood cells are sticky because of all the glucose stuck around it. And so this will be able to help with the blood flow so they're not sticking together.
And
again, reducing appetite.
Right. But that's this part of how this carries you through the day. So that you don't need to eat 3 squares a day.
And then we have fenugreek seed extract, which is rich in soluble fiber, aids in digestion, helps regulate blood sugar levels, promotes excretion of fat, inhibits fat accumulation, and all of us want that. And it promotes, I think this is written wrong. It promotes a reduction, the bad cholesterol, like the low LDL and the VLDL. If people have a higher HDL, that's great. We want you to have that. That's misinformation. So this would promote the reduction of bad cholesterol, which is LDL and VLDL, and again, reducing appetite. Go ahead.
This is berberine. Do you know anything about berberine?
I've heard a lot about berberine.
Okay, well,
Yep.
it'll stimulate the secretion again of the GLP-1. Isn't it interesting? It's only got a half-life of 1.5 minutes, but every slide we have shows that it's helping to increase.
You mean synthetically?
The synthetics. Yes, thank you, Jet. The synthetic has the half-life of 1.5 minutes. Great call. Improves beta cell function.
Mm-hmm.
And it also improves the production and flow of insulin from and into the blood.
Mm-hmm.
Again, big on the diabetes and high blood sugar. Decreases levels of glucose in the blood.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
you know what? It reduces appetite.
All right. So we shared a little bit about this. We have friends that work in insurance on 2 different companies. And we've been talking to them about these GLP-1 products for 18 months or so. And they were all the rage, and they were really being written without a prescription. And then they got into a major issue where people were coming back and their blood sugars weren't normal. And so then they wouldn't renew their prescription for
Right,
it.
right.
And then all of a sudden we started seeing all kinds of very bad behavior, and also contraindications. And so this GLP-1 is creating another issue all in of itself, because there are a lot of other diseases coming from this, like gastroparesis and muscle loss and bone density loss, but surgeries and all kinds of other issues. And what's fascinating is that, look at the prices. It's actually not Wegovy, it's Wegovy, which is $1,349 per month, and Ozempic. And if you don't have diabetes, the last I knew, they couldn't write a prescription for you for that. But now I think they're writing off label for weight loss. I'm not sure, but I do know that this is a very serious issue for insurance companies, and they really, they made a lot of money, but now it's really created a nightmare all on its own, because it's created even more sick care.
You know, with what we found with the loss of muscle and the loss of memory, I want you to forget about these prices, because these prices are too flippin' high. Let's look at what we have to offer on our product.
Okay.
This pre-launch special ends, well,
Today.
okay.
Actually, Dave had extended it. It was supposed to be closing the January 28th, but because so many people wanted this pre-launch, which will be out next month, that he created buy two, get one free, which is a savings of almost $120.
Yep.
And you'll also get entered into our weight loss competition. And I'm not sure that money pot, how big it is right now, but there's going to be a biggest loser. And I want to know that money pot's pretty big. Maybe we can ask Beth more about that. But for people that, when they buy this package, they actually are entered into that contest. And so we actually had people today go and get their muscle mass tested at the gym, and they got their inches tested and pictures, because they're serious, right? They're documenting what's going on. So if you haven't already ordered this special, you get a better price. You want to know how we get a better price?
Sure.
Okay. When you have a subscription of any kind, if you have a subscription of the Micro Daily EMF and probiotic, you get this price. So he's rewarding you. And I'm so glad this is the behavior we want to reward. It's so important to have the foundational products, and we help people get to sleep, whether we're just educating and being able to provide those strategies or getting them out of pain and insomnia. Because in order to deliver the results of weight loss, okay, or lowering blood sugar, right, and helping with insulin, which are, all those things are reversible, that we have to really offer them optimal strategies, and we're not getting in people's pocketbook, because this is safe, people. This is safe.
And sorry about the slide, but yeah, we just kept extending it and extending it and extending it, because we had such a big demand for it. But it's going to work out to about $120 a month, which is a huge savings.
Yes.
So
did you stop share?
Not yet.
It's right down here. All right, Beth. So we're open for if you have any questions, or you can take over.
All right, y'all. If you have any questions, this is a great time to be able to ask two experts sitting right here.
Well, do you have anything to add, Beth? Because you've been on a lot more of these calls with the GLP products. Is there anything that you could say that would enhance what we've said?
Well, I would just say that, to simplify it, when you eat, you activate the GLP-GIP. But because we're all under so much stress, it inactivates when you mess with the DPP-4 hormone. So it's real simple. If we can take that away and not be stressed, even though we're stressed, that's why this product will work. And it's going to help balance all of the hormones. So, you can't go wrong by taking it. I mean, and the other thing is, the reason why we had this call too was to show you that you have all these support systems with it, with the micro daily product through the core 4, the digestive boost and all that. And so today we were just giving you illustrations of why these product works and how they work to enhance the GLP. Because obviously our GLP could be a standalone, but why would you just take one product when you're not supporting the whole body? You know, that's what they're talking about on Ozempic and all that, about Ozempic face. You know, people are, their gut is slowing down to the point where it's really harming them. So this is why it's so great. Darlene has a question. Go ahead, Darlene. You have to unmute yourself.
Hi, yes. I have some people asking me about if there's any side effects with this at all. Like people have experienced like the stomach problems, or the nausea, or maybe diarrhea and stuff like that with Wegovy and stuff like that. And I tell them this is all natural; it's not going to cause any of that. So, how would you answer?
Darlene, thank you for being on, and as an expert of the GI tract yourself, right?
Right.
Okay, that I think that we're going to find out when we get to it comes to market. But with Dr. Prasad, there are no contraindications of any product that he has with any medication or other supplements. So I want people to know the importance of his peer-reviewed work and his patents that sets a precedent. Okay, and so this is his legacy at 90 years old. Okay. And so
Right.
I feel very confident with the precedent that he has set with his safety record, that's really not going to be an issue, because it is synthetic, and the toxicity of the GLP-1 synthetically causes a lot of those issues. And anytime the fancy word gastroparesis, it means that you're no longer able to really digest your food and the building block
Right.
for your body to heal. Right.
Right. Right.
So
right.
So Darlene, how can we best help you with that, answering that? I mean, you are an expert of that.
Yeah, this is an herbal formula. It's not synthetic.
Yeah. Right.
Body will
Exactly.
run on herbs than it will on the synthetics. And, I think that people need to try it. I think that we're going to see, Beth, maybe you agree with me, but I think we're going to see better results than we ever anticipated. And one of the things that we're going to be sharing with people is, let's stack the deck. Let's look at, our digital hygiene before we go to sleep. Let's make sure that we have a sleep sanctuary, which is why we talk so much about sleep. Let's give our body everything we can to show how well this product works in our bodies. So just because you're taking this product, don't eat crappy food.
Right.
Think about
Amen on that.
the bite you put in your mouth is important.
So
And I tell my clients that all the time. They get colonics. I say, then you can't leave and put garbage in your body.
Right.
No, and we thank you for your work. We think your work is super important.
Well, thank you so much for that comment. And I like what you said about Dr. Prasad, and I can pass that on to my clients as well. So I like that. I like that answer. That's great.
But I also like to say too is that, if you have toxins in your body, it's got to come out some way.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you've also got to embrace that the body is doing what it's supposed to do. And, when people come to me about, is this causing this or is this causing this? I said, no, what's happening is the nutrients are supporting your body and your body's now feeling safe to release. And it's really
right.
that
I like
simple.
that.
So over toxic, undernourished. As you get nourished, you're less toxic. It's just that simple.
I like that, Beth. I like that. Over toxic, undernourished.
And it works really good for you, Darlene, because if they don't feel safe, their body will not have the peristalsis to be able to release that, even though that's your job. And so it's a really great, really analogy, and you see that in what you do.
Right.
But
right.
I think
exactly.
for everybody on here, I think it's so important getting back to basics in the emergency essentials. If if you're deficient in one or two nutrients, and most people are, those detoxification pathways aren't working. And actually B6 is one of them. B6 is a rate limiting step for us to get to sleep. So if people are deficient in that, they're not going to be able to make the serotonin to melatonin. So that's why it's so critical to, at a minimum, have the micro daily EMF formula, right, in the capsule or the hydro, and the probiotic, because we have to have those systems online at a minimum for our bodies to be able to make the building blocks.
I used to tell my patients, look, we live and die one bite at a time. You put crap in, you get crap out. So in this,
I love that.
let's really work on the things that we put in our mouths. When you're standing in line at Chick-fil-A, you might want to rethink that.
Okay.
Especially when they think it's the healthiest fast food out there. I just don't get it. But anyways, go ahead.
Does anybody else have a question? We'd love to answer and support you.
Hey, I have one recommendation.
Oh, Colonel Urker, why don't you jump on? Can
You
you
ready
turn
for
your
this?
camera on?
So,
Yes.
yeah. So what I think is you guys should put together a commercial with people dancing and throw that up during the Super Bowl.
Man, that'd be amazing. Everybody, this is Lieutenant Colonel Urker, and we actually met Buzz.
Buzz, put on your camera so people can see you.
Yeah, I thought I did, but hold on. I got to open it up. This is my wife's computer.
We actually met Buzz in an airport years ago.
What, were we in Salt Lake?
No, I don't know. No, I don't know what airport we were in. We were at the counter buying coffee. I know that.
That's
Yeah.
right. And we met him. We started talking to him, and we ended up giving him some samples, and he's been our friend ever since. And
we was actually retiring from at that time, and then retiring from the military.
That's right. That's
as a
right.
pilot, right? But what's exciting is that he, as a veteran, he was also very fit. So I got to tell you, when we met, everything you think of a fighter pilot, he was that. Do you know what I mean? And at any age, and I'm like, wow. But I love that our company honors our veterans and offers them the very best products at a better price that he can even get.
Yeah.
And that you get to have that product. Out of all the products, and you're on here for a specific reason today, of those products as a veteran, what products do you really love for people to hear on here? For you to why are you, because you've been working out and been healthy and taken supplements your whole career.
So I'll be honest with you. I feel like my whole career, between the aircraft I flew and the environments I flew them in, was felt like I made it 22 years on pure adrenaline. Your body is constantly being stressed, whether it's physically or mentally, through the environment. And to be quite honest with you, when I retired, I actually felt like it was the beginning of my freedom. Like, now I want to go do all these things, the list that you've been writing down. And after talking to you two, realizing the environment, and I'm continuously flying, I can't recover what's the damage that's been done. And my body was vaccinated with a cocktail every year. I have no idea. I literally have no idea what was put in me. And I said, hey, I want to start living cleaner because, I've got a lot of stuff that I want to do. And I just last year, I ran my first ultra marathon. It was 50 miles. I was training for a 100-miler, and I got a kinetic injury, but I still made that. And I told my running partner, we're going for 100. So, and then Doc, I just told you earlier, my motivation is my grandchildren, and they don't exist yet. My kids are all in college, but if I don't work for my grandchildren now, it'll be too late when they arrive. So, for me, EMF has been, that's kind of been my staple. But eyesight's huge. You hit on that earlier, Doc. It's like this thing that pilots hold on to, sometimes stubbornly. Yeah, trust me, I could read everything. Like the doctor's like, really? We'll go to extremes. We'll memorize the eye charts. What's that?
Even the made in China at the very bottom line?
Yeah, the very, very bottom line. In fact, every time they ask you, hey, what's the bottom line say? I say, made in China.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Colonel,
I'm excited. And I'm watching my wife is on the other side of the room, and to be honest with you, the sickness that has struck America, really Western culture with weight gain is worse for women, I feel like, because they've got all sorts of stuff, right? Hormones going up and down, menopause, all sorts of stress beyond what we have as fathers. So, and we're seeing peers just whatever instant gratification is, just give it to me tomorrow. And I think we have a bigger pandemic on the horizon
Agreed.
for this generation. That's my concern. So, and then last thing I'll leave you with is our parents, baby boomers, have all been inflicted with neurological disorders. We have Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, ALS. Like, I'm seeing those people in my parents and grandparents, really parents' generation, and they're afflicted by these absolutely horrific diseases that I'd rather fall off a cliff tomorrow skiing than have to live through any of those. So,
And I want you to know, Dr. Prasad already has peer-reviewed papers. He's actually, we're going to close with this, Beth. This is perfect. Dr. Prasad is actually going to be lecturing in both Dubai and Japan on anti-aging and Alzheimer's. And on Zoom, like he's a keynote lecturer at major conferences in Dubai and Japan on that topic. And we get to spend a lot of time with him. His mind is very sharp. And I know that we can be able to provide strategies, even if people have pre-Parkinson's or they have some of these symptoms and they have labels. I want people to know in here that starting today, we can see a lot of symptoms and diminish. Do you know what I mean? And they feel better. And I just want people to have hope that when we get those building blocks in our body, we're hardwired to heal. We're hardwired to heal. And so I'm very grateful for this call. Thank you, Buzz, for sharing.
The future is now. Thank you, Colonel. Thank you, Beth.
Appreciate that.
We appreciate that. We're grateful.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Buzz.
Thank y'all for showing up and helping spread the news.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel.
Could
See
I
you
just
later.
make one comment, please? Back when you're talking about what it's done, I don't know how the pilot was, but anyway, from my testimony, I'm 88 years old. I walk 3 miles every morning this week, and I take no prescription drugs, but I take all this nutrition.
Yep.
And
oh my Lord.
she's incredible, and she's sharp as a tack.
How old are you, Evelyn?
88.
88.
And you take no medicine.
No prescription drugs. No, I don't even have any aspirin in my house.
And you ran 3 miles every day this week.
Walked.
Man.
For
Walk.
years. For years.
And if she has
For
a
years.
problem, like she has a problem with the tree that fell down, she'll just go take the chainsaw out and cut it down herself.
I really do.
She really does. This lady is amazing.
Dr. Prasad and her are 23 months apart.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank you,
good week.
Anyway,
Thank
thank you so much.
Good to see y'all.
Good to
Bye,
see
y'all.
you.
Good night.
Good night.